All right, hi everybody. I just wanted to do a little bit of a video to tell you guys about a project I've been working on regarding my Simpit. So, a few months back, the wife decided that our two boys could no longer share a room. So, I got kicked out of our spare bedroom and I pretended to put up a fight and pretend that this was a bad thing for me, and decided that I was going to lose this fight. Don't tell her, but that was on purpose. And I decided to build a tough shed to be my new pit room. So yes, this is a tough shed. It's an 8x14 tough shed. I'll put some pictures up as this goes. Yeah, just got delivered in prefabricated walls. It was installed by the company. And then I had to go through, do all the insulation, the electrical, air conditioning, drywall, painting, flooring, all that stuff. Now, I'm by no means any sort of contractor. I don't do this for a living. I've never done most of this ever. I've done a little bit of painting and trim work, just kind of DIY around the house. But other than that, I've never done any of this stuff. So none of this is perfect, but I think it came out pretty darn decently. I'm pretty happy with it. It's comfortable in here. I tried to stick to construction codes as best as I could and electrical codes as best as I could. And I think it came out pretty well. So as you can see here, I've got my area for the pit itself. And I've got a 47-inch LG TV. It's specifically a gaming TV. Got the pit here now. None of this is hooked up, and I'll kind of talk about that here in a second. Just some cubes for some storage, lighting. There's my air conditioner unit, air conditioner and heater. That is a godsend, especially when it gets super hot, over 100 degrees around here, which happens often. Got my 3D printer, got a monitor that I can use for either my PlayStation or as an extension for my laptop. There's my laptop I mainly use this one for either designing panels or altering designs for panels, coding the DCS BIOS instructions for the Arduinos or, whatever. And then of course I got my mini fridge with various beverages, both adult and otherwise. So that way I don't have to run away every time I need to quench the thirst. Then of course some cabinets with all the odds and ends, wires, switches, circuit boards, whatever I need to do all my building. It was pretty cool building my own little space here because, I was able to try to think things through as best I could. I tried to measure out the space over here to fit the pit and run the wires specifically. So, I've got a power ran up, so I have an outlet up here. I've got an HDMI port up here. I ran network access from the house underground to over here. I try to pay attention to some of the little things like outlet locations. I even put a little outlet up there. I think you can see that, so that I can have the above cabinet lighting. I think it came out pretty well. Speaking of lighting, all the lighting in this place is all the same. It's all Philips Hue, so it all is networked together, which makes for pretty fun effects. I could take this remote and change all of the lights at the same time to various themes, depending on what kind of mood I'm in. I can change the brightness, whatever. When I do get the pit hooked up, the HDMI cable for the display is going to go through a box that's going to read the signal and is going to change the lights in the light strip around the TV, as well as all of these lights, to mimic what's on the monitor or TV, I guess you could say. So that way I kind of have an ambiance, peripheral vision that matches what's going on the monitor. So that's pretty cool. I'm looking forward to that. So as for why the pit's not hooked up right now, well, it's about to go through a pretty major remodel. So I have not actually played and flown this thing for maybe a year anyway. just because there's a bunch of stuff that needs to be redone so that it's right. I rebuilt some panels, like the CDU panel, so that it works a little bit better. I incorporated the F panel, the F buttons, the F1 through 12s in there. Rebuilt the ILS and TACAN panels. One of the shorts on my channel has basically the prototype version of it, and it works pretty well, but I fixed the alignment of the displays, so now these will display, correctly aligned. Also, ILS will illuminate when the power is turned on. Test button actually works. Yeah. So, and then I ended up purchasing a new warning light, the warning indicator box, instead of the one that I built myself, just because I wanted some lights that were a little more reliable. I was constantly having these things burn out. It was driving me insane. Plus I hated the wiring mess that was behind it. But yeah, a lot of stuff needs to be redone, especially this main instrument panel. I've never been happy with it. It's always been kind of garbage. I didn't really build it correctly to begin with. I've learned a lot of lessons since putting this together, and so now I'm going to rebuild it. I have a new laser cutter coming. I've got the new 80 watt bad boy from X-Tool that just came out. So I ordered that. That's coming. That's going to actually let me cut a new front face for this whole thing. Even though it's wood, I may use ABS plastic, but I think I'm going to stick with the wood. But I'll actually be able to use the laser cutter to do that because it is big enough to cut that whole thing. Plus the other components that stack up on top, and then also recut a lot of these panels. I already started redesigning the landing gear panel because I don't like the mechanism. I made it too big, misaligned it. I mean, it works, but I don't like it. Plus I got the proper landing light switch, the one from the real aircraft. So that'll work nicely. Also with the radio stack, I finally did get the correct indicators for the channels after 40 tries. So I just have to wire those up, figuring out exactly what wires go where, but I did get the correct ones finally. So those have got to be redone. But yeah, after I do the main instrument panel, the only real major thing is I'm going to redo the mounts for these, because if you're not familiar with this design by chance, these are made of wood, and all of these are screwed into the wood with just threaded screws. Well, I came up with a new design where I use aluminum square bar, or steel square bar actually, and there's square bars that go up here, and I drilled in some threaded rivets, and these screw into those threaded rivets. And so this whole thing is one big panel. And so I just need to secure this square bar rack essentially to the wooden frame, but I'm going to do that for here, secure that. I'm going to rebuild this section to accommodate that as well. I'll probably do a small one for up here, and then do the same thing for the radio stack section, this outer section, and I'll probably leave that one alone. And then of course, yeah, I got to do the glare shield up there. I've never done the glare shield because I've never had good components that were going to look good. When this pit first came out, nobody really built the proper pieces. Well, last year Warthog project actually came out with some 3D printed parts that look really nice, and not to mention handle mechanisms. So I will finally get around to making it someday, so that way I actually have a functional glare shield with fire handles, and it'll hopefully look a lot nicer than this, because that's always looked stupid and it's always irritated me, but I've never had the ability to make it look nice. In case y'all were curious, this seat, I did not build this seat myself. This is by Neo Ingress. Some of you might be familiar with it, some of you may not. In case you're not, this is an extremely expensive high-end replica. Really, really cool. This took me, I think, 2 years, I want to say, for me to actually get it from when I first expressed interest in it to the company. Worth every penny, even though it was a whole hell of a lot of pennies. Really cool though, because all of the levers and switches are tied into one main circuit board, so which a USB port plugs into. Even cooler, that circuit board has a macro for the ejection handles. So as some of you that play DCS know, to eject, you have to send the command, whatever the keyboard command is, you have to send it 3 times in order to eject. Well, the macro built into the circuit board will fire the signal 3 times with one pull. So that way I don't have to pull these handles 3 times consecutively. I can pull it once, the circuit board will send the signal 3 times, so that way the game will just know I want to eject. So that's pretty convenient. I will say this is not the most comfortable chair in the world, but it is supposed to be pretty accurate to the real dimensions. It had actually been remodeled by the company right before they built it for me, just to make, because they got a hold of a real one and did some measurements, so it's pretty stinking close. I'm gonna try to mount a butt kicker to this somehow, but yeah, we'll get there. Lots to come, and as I get through this, I'll try to post some updated videos as I actually start getting ready to fly. I'll try to do some videos with that as well. And then hopefully, I already have the headset, but hopefully as I start moving towards the mixed reality thing, I'll start doing some videos like that as well. But until then, thanks for watching.